Good morning. I think I'm actually going to open up my window. I am glistening. It is humid in here. Whew. Humid. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. I have lots of things to talk about today. Waiting for comments to show up. Oh, dang it. Okay. Hello. Oh, boop, 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 boop. Okay. Hi, everyone. It is Wednesday. All the peoples are where they're supposed to be. I just walked Sawyer to the bus stop. Just harbored when you're at daycare, preschool, and Cooper was gone by 7 a.m. this morning. It was neon dress day. Yesterday was pajama day. Today was neon dress day. So I got him his neon shirt. Tomorrow is twin day, but we're doing triplet day. So him and his two friends, Dexter and Peyton, are going to be triplets, which I think is so fun. And I'll tell you, again, vulnerable heart. When I got the email about like the dress up days, it said pajama day, neon day, twin day, and spirit day. And I think I was on a live and I'm like, what's twin day? And I was like, oh, like dress up with a friend. And I will fully admit, I was like, Cooper doesn't understand and can't ask. And I don't know any of the kids in his class. And then someone was like, Dexter and Peyton. So their classes are adjacent. They ride the bus together, but there's like a little hallway separating their classes. So their room and then Cooper's room. And I was like, he can be triplets with them. So I texted their moms and like right away, they said yes. I don't know if they'll really ever know how much their kids mean to me. I don't know if they ever could. And maybe they feel that way about a neurotypical friendship but I don't know if they'll ever know how precious it is to me that Cooper has these friends. And it looks different, right? I don't know if they've ever verbally communicated. I mean, Cooper can answer yes and no, and he has me tell them things, but they love him. You know, like it matters. I have lots to tell you about the play date, but I want to tell you something that started yesterday and ended this morning online. And, you know, I see wackadoodle things online all day long with my pages and social media, and I share like 1% of it. Someone will definitely say in this comment section, just wait for it, don't give attention to the haters. Well, I think there is a time and a place to give attention to it because it's a way that we can all learn. So sometimes you will see that I'll actually write a post about something that was said to me. And I do that because inadvertently it's teaching people. So I'm choosing to do this. So yesterday, I got a message from a dude. It said he was from Germany, but he was actually he went to the University of the U of M, which is right here. So I'm thinking it's a fake profile. Pretty sure it's a fake profile. But that doesn't matter. Said it was a guy, Rob. So yesterday, he sent me this message, and it said, there's no way your son has severe autism. He went to a bookstore. And then it was something like, it was like 2 sentences. There's no way your son has severe autism. He went to a bookstore. Individuals with severe autism can't leave their home. And I was like, ear. Like, what? So I was like, I've really been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it because Like, this is a really good discussion. I'm going to tell you what his follow-up was, because I think it's a really good discussion to have with an audience that is a mixture of parents of kids with disabilities, teachers, therapists, which they're probably all working, but they'll watch it later. People that know nothing about autism, people that are just here to learn, people that just like me or hate me or like my kids or whatever. It doesn't really matter. And I immediately like put myself like in this person's shoes. Like, are they an autism dad and they have a son or a child who's severe and can't leave their house? Like, obviously that's where my brain went, right? And there is nothing more isolating than not being able to leave your house. We lived it for 5 years. Fully lived it. And I talk about this all the time, which is funny, which is why it feels weird that I'm having to, kind of weird that I'm having to like say it. So we went to a bookstore on Monday. Cooper didn't have school. And mind you, Cooper is only going to half days of school because he's allegedly too severe for school. Let that sink in. But so he didn't have school on Monday. And I am trying to get in the community. I want Cooper in the community. I don't always know how to do it. I don't know how to make it work. A lot of times I don't feel strong enough. A lot of times I don't feel brave enough. But I want to make this work so bad. I see my life when he is 20 and when he is 30, and I want him to be able to go places. I want our family to be able to go places. So I have poured every ounce of my energy as Cooper's mom into getting into the community. And if you're a supporter on my page, you know this. You know that this is where I have landed. I'm going to get this kid in the community, and I'm going to educate the world. That's it. All right? That's it. That's a nutshell. There's really nothing. That's what I'm doing. So we went to a bookstore. I picked a bookstore that we've been to before. And I'll tell you, the first time we went there, he wouldn't even go in, and we had to spend our time on the sidewalk. That was last summer. But I knew that, I told them we were coming, because I know the owner. She set aside 2 books for us of my book. I picked a time when I thought no one would be there. Like, I would never go there on a weekend. I would never go there in the evening. We went at 10 a.m. or 10:30 on a Monday. And shocker, it was busy. I was like, who are these people? I had no idea that people went to bookstores on Mondays at 10 a.m. I just had assumed it would be a ghost town. And we, I have a hotspot and his speech device and his iPad and snacks and a drink. And we were there for 10 minutes, and we sat in a corner away from everyone else, and I shared a 45-second snippet of our trip. And I chose to share the 45-second snippet where he's writing his name, and he's tracing his name. And I want to show the world how hard we've worked to get to this bookstore. What a big deal it is that he's there. The fact that he wrote his name, or traced his name, whatever you want to say. And we had to leave the second it was done. I also had a hard time getting him out of there. While I was, and I'm not gonna go into all the details because I don't have to, but while I was paying, I have to hold him. He's touching everything and knocking things down, and there's no denying Cooper's diagnosis, and there's no hiding, and we're not hiding. And I considered it a huge win. Now, the sentence that I often say is, "Hey, Megan, I was thinking about you this morning." Hello. Our wins, I'll say this sentence. Our wins and our successes would probably be considered failures for anyone outside of the disability world. they're huge wins to us because we did it. It was messy and it was chaotic and it was a bit stressful, but we did it, right? So I thought about this person. So for anyone that just joined, I got a message that said, there's no way your son has severe autism. You went to a bookstore. So I wrote back, I was like, hey, Ray, or Rob. I'm like, are you questioning my son's diagnosis? Because I haven't had that happen for a long time. And I'll tell you, every time it's happened, I'll speak vulnerably with you. So if you want to fire a shot at me, it's someone that wants to tell me how their child's more severe and they have it harder. And I hope that no one out there thinks that this is a competition. Like, are we really competing? Because I'm not playing. But like, there are people, and you will see this a lot, that think it's a competition. That they want, their sole purpose is to prove that their life is harder than yours. And I'll tell you, there are a lot of people that have a way harder than life than me. I will admit to you my blessings. I have a safe home. I have food to eat. I have a partner. I have family. I have friends. I have built a support system. I am blessed. And every time I go to a retreat and every time I go to an event with other moms, I am humbled at the struggles that others face. And I tell you, I could hit my knees and thank God. My son's alive. I've met parents where their children have died. My son's not on a feeding tube. He's mobile. He doesn't have a trach. I could go on and on and on. So it's like, you will never find me. You'll never find me. Ever. And I'm going to say this. The old me, yes, the old Kate, but you will never find me in this woe is me place where I'm going to tell you how my life is harder. Because I don't want to do that. So I wrote back to him. I'm like, are you questioning my son's severity? Like, dude, really? And he wrote back a novel to me. I was surprised. Usually those people just go away, but he wrote back a novel to me. And he doubled down and he said, and this is the part that I want to talk about. He said, there's no way that your son has severe autism because you have time to do social media. You have time to go to a bookstore. And then here's the part and the reason why I'm sharing this with you. He said, you are doing a disservice to the autism community and to social workers by pretending that your son is severe when he's not and sharing it with the world. And he must be a very loyal follower because he read my post last night about the daycare provider who said that Cooper will never talk, ride a bike, make a friend. And he's like, your daycare provider was right, just with the wrong level of autism. And I was like, I'm so angry. I was sweating. I didn't respond. I'm choosing to respond. He's watching, so I'm choosing to respond vocally. Because go away. I'm not going to defend my son's disability to you. Go away. But I shared the really hard parts of our autism journey for a long time. It's how I got 1 million followers. I did. I shared the really, really hard parts when I was, and I use the term caregiver in crisis. My next book, I think, is going to be about that. I was a caregiver in crisis. And there was no help and there was no support. And I talked about it. And I talked about it, I think, a lot more back then because for a few reasons. I was living it every day, my hardest life. I had no one else to talk to. I didn't have a support group. I didn't have other moms that lived this life and dads. I really alienated my friends. I alienated my family. I didn't want anyone to know how severe Cooper was. In my real life. I didn't want anyone to know how hard it was. I didn't want anyone to know what a failure I was. And I say that because that's what I thought. So when anyone in my real life was like, how's it going? Like my boss or my coworkers, like, I'm fine. I'm great. Everything's great. It was not great. It was not. It was not great. But people believe me because I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want anyone to know how hard it was. But I shared a lot more. I don't think, if you go into the groups that hate me, they'll say that I shared meltdowns. I don't think I've ever shared a meltdown. I just never have. I don't think I've talked about meltdowns and written about meltdowns, but I don't think I've ever shared a video of it. So that's a lie. People say that. But I talked about the hard parts of our life because I was living it. And I didn't know what else to share. And when I hit my bottom, and like I fully hit my bottom. My Elmo viral video was my lowest. I spent the night, if you know me, if you came to me from that, I had a very viral video. My husband and I took our son to see Elmo at the Mall of America. It was the lowest. It was the first time I saw how severe my son was. He was 6, and that this was forever. And there's this thing that happens when you have a child diagnosed with autism or any disability, I'm assuming. I don't know. I just only know autism. No one talks about forever. Like you're living day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute. And this instance, this really hard day, was the first time that I saw that this was forever. And I spent the night, and I'm fully honest, just sobbing. And I had him, he was 6, I had him in the bathtub, and I was washing his feet. And I always say this, they weren't little feet anymore. They weren't 2-year-old toddler feet. They were 6-year-old feet. And I filmed a video about it and hit my lowest point. And the blessing that came out of that was the only place for me to go was up. So it forced me to sit, and this is true, and this is what my next book's about. It forced me to sit in my hardest, worst, saddest place and acknowledge it. Like, this might not get better. He might never talk. We might never leave our house. The world might go on and forget us. Right? And I did it. I did it, you guys. And that's when I started to heal. I started to heal. And what came from that was this transformation with me. And I realized autism wasn't something to overcome. It's my job to celebrate my son. I have a choice in how I look at this, and I choose to see the blessings that he brings to our life, the unique gifts, like the gift of sight. I get to see the good in the world. I get to see the good in individuals like him. I get to see the good people that he's brought to me, the people that have changed me because of him. And you get a choice. You get a choice in how you look at this. And I'm not saying that the thing is, from my lowest point to a month later, or 2 months later, Cooper didn't change. I did. I'm leaving the angry place. I'm leaving the woe is me place. I'm leaving the comparison place. I'm leaving the fighting place. I'm done. I'm done. I get one life to live. I get one life. Am I going to spend it being an angry, miserable person because I was given this boy? No. I'm going to change the world. I'm going to build a supporter group, which come join. I'm going to have in-person events for families like mine. I'm going to have retreats twice a year and bring caregivers together. I'm going to share my story. And I changed. And so did what you see on this page. I started sharing the beautiful parts of severe autism. Now, in the beginning, it was really hard. I'll be honest. Until we started our medication journey, until age 10, it was hard. And then he started noticing his siblings. And then we started Miracle League. And then we started riding horses. And then we had a great year in school. He started saying some words. All these parts. We could go for rides in the car and look at trains. These little bits, these glimmers of hope and happiness, right? And I shared them. And it was maybe in a 24-hour day, the worst day ever. But I shared the 1 second that he held his brother's hand. I shared the 1 second that we could ride in the car without an aggression. And there's so many reasons why I switched. And do you want to know the number one reason? This is the number one reason why I changed what I started sharing. When Cooper was first diagnosed, I Googled severe nonverbal autism. And it brought up, this is in my book, it brought up videos on YouTube that were dark and grainy with like a shaky camera. And it was individuals with autism having meltdowns. It should not have been online. It was terrifying. It was a disservice. It was traumatizing for the individual, for the parent, for me watching. And I thought it broke me. Because I ran from the diagnosis. I ran from it. I was like, there's no way that's my kid. There's no way that is my kid. That is not my sunshine boy, my yellow-haired boy. That is not my life. I will run from this forever. I will not join that community. It was such a disservice. And I thought, what if the new mama now Googles severe nonverbal autism and they see Cooper? Think of the difference. I'm not negating the hard. I'm not hiding the hard. I'm not lying about the hard. But when I know the biggest part of the journey is the transformation that you need to make as the parent, you need to change, not them. You need to. You need to accept. You need to fall and break and get up, right? Let's give these parents a softer place to land. It's like, I don't know. It's so defeating. It's like, so effing defeating. I'm sorry. Like, that Ray is like, there's no way your kid has severe nonverbal autism. Really? Because I show you 45 seconds of us doing something that I'd probably cry after. I don't know. It's just, it's so interesting. So I guess here's my question. And I'm going to ask you this truthfully and honestly. Am I doing a disservice by sharing the positive and hopeful parts of this journey? I'm thinking about it. Like, I'm truly trying to think about it. I don't know. I don't know how I could be. And the other thing that you have to remember is that Cooper can't advocate for himself. Like, these individuals, they can't advocate for themselves yet. I don't know if Cooper will ever be able to, but I'm going to say yet because I don't know. Do you think he wants his bad parts splashed all over the world, or his hard parts? Like, would we ever do that to a neurotypical child? No. It's something to ponder. It's something to ponder. And you know, we meet with our social worker every December. We have to for Cooper's waiver. and for Cooper's Medicaid. And we go through this big evaluation, you guys. And if you are in my supporter group, you know that December breaks me for two reasons. There's a lot of really big emotions around Cooper's birthday, joyful ones, and we're having a big party this year. But birthdays are hard. Birthdays are hard, guys. Just know that. And then also, we do this big evaluation that is like 3 hours long. And we have a very nice evaluator, but we have to go through all the hard parts. And so imagine living someone's whole heart, everything hard about them in this period of time. And there it is, Mona. Mona, I'm explaining because I think there are a lot of people that feel this way, and it's good to educate. It's really good to educate. It's so good. Going through someone's hard parts, and I was thinking, we have some new things that we have to add this year. Cooper touches stoves, burners, hot plates, skillets. It's hard. We've had lots of stuff going on, we have a lot of skin picking. It's so hard. It's so hard. And when you see your child self-injure, please know, if you don't have that, and we are very, I'm going to tell you, we are very blessed, and we have minimal, but the parts that we have are really dangerous because a lot of self-injuring dangerous behaviors result in infection. And it's not as simple as putting antibiotic cream and a Band-Aid on, and they won't wear Band-Aids, and I can go on and on. But I was thinking about some of these new things that we're going to have to add, and I always have Cooper leave. So they have to see Cooper, they have to have eyes on Cooper to make sure he's safe and healthy. And then I have him leave because I don't want him to hear me say everything bad about him. I don't want him to. Our 10-year-old Sawyer, things will be said, and like I'm trying to give an example, but like Sawyer's very smart. He's wonderful, but he can really beat himself up sometimes, and like I'll hear him be like, I'm so stupid, and I'm like, Sawyer, you're not stupid, you're so smart, like you're so smart, buddy. Like, he's like, well, why do I need help with my reading? Or he's entering this world, and it's like, now imagine if he had to listen to a 3-hour evaluation of all of his hard parts. We would never do that. We would never do that to a neurotypical child. I can't do that to Cooper. I cannot do that. So I don't know, I guess I'm trying to walk this tightrope of educating and sharing, being respectful and real, advocating for the person, advocating for the disability, painting it in a real light. And I don't know, maybe I don't always do it right. But I don't think I'm doing a disservice by sharing the beautiful parts. Okay, that was 30 minutes of that. I just had to say that, because I know there's someone that's watching that's like, there's no reason that your kid has severe autism. There's no way. So first, really? I didn't know that anyone would ever think that. So I guess we have made a lot of progress. But and I feel like I do share some of the hard parts. I've talked numerous times about this second to last Miracle League baseball game. When Cooper dropped to the ground and I had to kind of lay on him to keep his head safe, and he was kicking defense, and even though these were my people, and they weren't staring at me, but like the people and the families in the audience were staring, and I'm really at the mercy of him. I can't move him anymore. We're the same size. So I just have to negotiate and wait for him to get calm and talk him through it. And I felt like I'm still talking about it because it really made me sad. I cried a lot. I'll just say this one more sentence. It will resonate with somebody. That's why I'm saying it. Realizing Cooper's severity next to his autistic peers was more emotional for me than the initial diagnosis. And maybe no one felt that way. Maybe someone does. I don't know if I'm going through the change, but I broke down crying. I've been crying a lot lately. I broke down crying at the retreat when I was presenting. I thought I had it together, and I said that sentence that I didn't realize how much harder this severity part would be. And I think a lot of it's stemming from school. The school stuff has broken me. It has broken me. You know me, you know it has. You can't deny it. If knowing me, I am so different. I am so, and I've only shared, out of respect for the school, and I have not shared what's happened. But it has broken me. And the sentence that I said that I broke down, the sentence that I said was, my kid can't even go to school. How do I have a kid that can't even go to school? How did we get here? I feel like I've done everything. I've done everything and it's not enough. And I think that's where it comes from, is back to the growth that we have to take as parents. Is I feel like a failure a lot of the times. It wasn't enough. I didn't do enough. I didn't fix this. But then I'm like, it isn't a situation to be fixed, guys. It just is. It just is. Please just, if you're anything like me and you're on this roller coaster, I have people that watch me that or hate me that have never felt these feelings, and they share them a lot. I do feel the feelings. I do. I'm heartbroken over school. I'm heartbroken over severity. I'm terrified of what's going to happen after I die. I don't know. Turning 40 opened up something in my soul, and I think about it. And I'm starting to dip my toe into lifelong care, and I'm starting to dip my toe into what's this going to look like? How do I live forever? Oh, it is just a roller coaster. And I don't know how to get off it. So I guess I'll just say if you don't feel any of these feelings, please be gracious with those of us that do. Because we're just doing our best. We're just doing our best. Okay, who wants something positive before we hop off? Something positive. So, yesterday, I texted my friend Chris, and her son Dexter is in Cooper's adjacent class, and they're Miracle League buddies, and Dexter is the most amazing boy. He is kind and sweet. He has a developmental disability as well. I'm just sharing that for context. He is funny and sweet and kind. All of her kids are. And Cooper loves him. So it like dawned on me like a week ago. Why don't we have a play date? Like, why don't we have a play date for Cooper? So I text her and she's like, of course. And she has children with disabilities. She's phenomenal. She does respite. She does care. She has a son very similar to Cooper who's actually deaf. So she lives this world. So when Cooper got up from his nap yesterday, I was like, do you want to have a play date with Dexter? He went like this. He went, and the longer the pause in his vocalization is more the excitement. And he was like, ah! That's what he did. And I was like, oh my gosh. Text Chris, got it set up. And so Sawyer had a hockey game like 5 minutes from where she lives. So it works out perfect. And it's 1 hour. And Cooper can't do hockey yet. It's just, and with the 2 babies, it's just too hard. So I'm like, well, how do we make this work? How do we give him a special moment? And, how do we do this? So I bring him over there and he walks right in. They had already eaten dinner. So I brought him his dinner. He went and like sat in this like gaggle of children, has his iPad, sets out his food. And I was like, this is Chris and Dave. He knows them. But I'm like, this is Chris and Dave. If you need help, you ask Miss Chris, you ask Mr. Dave, and we talked for like a second and like I like awkwardly like didn't know how to leave. I'm not lying. Like I was like, Chris was like, you gonna be okay? I was like, yeah, I'm okay. Like I was like, yeah, I'm good. And so I'm like, well, I'm gonna go. And I think Cooper thought I said it's time to go. And he went like this. So that's his like, he's blowing me kisses. He's like, and I was like, okay, you can stay. Fine. And so Chris walked me at the door and I was like, I don't really know what to like say about like if something, Marianne, Dexter's not deaf. Her other son is deaf. Dexter is verbal, not deaf. So I was like trying to think of things to tell you about like, if something goes wrong, I'm like, but Cooper's a really good communicator and like, I don't think anything's going to go wrong. Meaning if there's no demands put on him and, we just talked for a second. So went to the game and then, so she texted me, this photo first. So Dexter's, I'm building a train. I'm sure Cooper didn't really play much with it, but was like setting it up for him. And I was like, oh my gosh. I also love that they're both wearing pajamas. It was pajama day yesterday. So the game went from 5:15 to 6:15 and it was going a little bit longer. So I sent her a message and it was like 6:08 and I'm like, do you mind if I stay till the end? There's like 7 minutes left. And she's like, of course not. She's like, Cooper said, here's what she said. Because this is a funny story. This is funny. So, he hung out on the floor with Dexter for a bit, then moved to the couch, watching videos and watching Dexter. He's letting Levi, which is one of her other children, watch videos with him. Make yourself comfortable, dude. Grab a blanket. So then she said, he just asked for you, and I told him you'd be back shortly. Then I showed him on our face clock how long before you returned. She told him 15 minutes. He was good with that and went back to watching videos. So I said, perfect, on my way. So instead of being like 15 minutes though, it was like 20. So I walk in and she bursts out laughing and she's like, Cooper totally busted me in a lie. And I was like, what happened? She's like, well, I showed him on the clock that you'd be here in 15 minutes. And he went back to watching his iPad. She's like, Kate, at 15 minutes, he showed me and said, and showed me that you were late. And I was like, he's so stinking smart. So he Sawyer had came with me and Winnie. So they were playing with Chris's dogs. And Cooper went right to the car because when he's done, right? He went to his play date. He's done. So we got in the car. And we left or whatever. And she's like, he did great. And she's like, Sawyer has a game on Saturday. And she's like, do you want him to come on Saturday? And I'm like, well, let me talk to him. I'm like, This is so new, you guys. This is so new. So I didn't ask him last night. So this morning I said, Cooper, do you want to... oh, I have another funny story too. I'm like, Cooper, do you want to go back to Dexter's on Saturday for an hour while mommy and daddy watch hockey? And he's like, yes. And I was like, I mean, this hour bit is perfect. Like that's a good chunk of time for him. So then his new thing is he wants to do things. But again, there's not a lot of things that we can do. So I like foolishly said, I'm like, do you want to go get a pumpkin? I'm going to go back to the play date thing real quick. But I'm like, do you want to go get a pumpkin? And he's like, no. And then I was like, do you want to go to look at Christmas trees? And he like levitated off the ground. There's nothing Cooper loves more than Christmas. And I was like, well, maybe we could go to Gerton's, but you cannot. For anyone local, comment. Gerton's on the weekend is this like greenhouse, pumpkin store, Christmas tree store with like 1,000 people there. Like, I don't even want to go there on the weekends without children, let alone autism. So I was like, shite. And then I was like, what if they don't even have their trees out yet? It's not even October. So he walks and gets his iPad and comes back to me, taps me on the shoulder, and shows me a still frame that's a front of a Costco. And I was like, what about Costco? And he presses the play button, and it's someone walking through the Christmas tree aisle. And I was like, you want to go to Costco? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, buddy, there's no trees up at Costco yet. Like, you're even rushing I'm like, you're rushing are they up at Hobby Lobby? I'm like, I feel like you're even rushing. I was like, I don't think they're up yet. Are they up? And so then Jamie, our curmudgeon dad, is like, we're not buying another tree. And I'm like, we're not buying a tree, dude. We're looking at trees. There's a difference. It was so funny. Like, it was so funny. Like, he showed his dad Costco. Trees are up. We could do like a Christmas tree tour, but not on the weekends. Too many people. We could never do it. It would be bad. He is such a Grinch. Jamie is such a Grinch. And I'm saying that here. You heard it here first, folks. Are they up at Costco? Okay. I will look into this. So I said, maybe we'll go tomorrow before speech. We have speech at 2:30, so maybe we'll go on a Christmas tree tour. But again, Ray's going to say that he's not autistic because we're going to a Christmas tree store. Ugh. But it's huge progress, you guys. It's huge progress for us to be able to do this. It's a lot of, as Carrie says, my friend, it's a lot of scaffolding. It's a lot of scaffolding, you guys. And it's not always pretty. But we are going to try. And let me just end with this, back to this playdate thing. So my dream, you guys, Cooper's 12. He's never went somewhere without me. Like that. Like never. Never. And a big part of this is that Chris is the most wonderful human on the planet. And that her kids are wonderful and her husband's wonderful and she's an angel on earth. But the fact that this is possible, like, someone out there is going to understand this. Again, I say these things because I know it's going to resonate with one person. You know, the 3 months of summer that we just had, there are no camps. There's nowhere for him to go unless I bring him, or Dad. No one's picking him up and bringing him to Dairy Queen. There is nothing. There is nothing. And that's why parents of children that are aging out of the system are terrified. They are terrified because you're looking at never having a break. And it's okay to need a break from our kids. It's okay to need a break from Sawyer and the babies and Cooper. This is not a bad thing. This is human. So to have an hour for him to have a great time with a friend. Like, this has changed my life. It has changed my life. I just can't even fully process it. And I'll tell you, we're going to hopefully hire Chris on our waiver, so she will be compensated for care. But what's so great is that it's presented as a play date. Like, Cooper's 12. He's going on a play date. He's not going to a babysitter. He's going to a play date. Like, that's so great. Just wanted to share all that because I'm so excited. Okay, I'm going to hop off. I'm actually going to hop right on our supporter page. So if you want to come join, I'll share a link, talk a little bit more about school, things that are going on. Thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me educate you. Thank you for listening. Dexter wants to come to our house, Kelly, and so does Peyton. So I think that we will be having a play date too here. Although Cooper won't play. That's the funny part. So I'm sure Sawyer would play with Dexter. And Peyton would probably hang with us. Yeah. Okay. Bye, everyone.